lottery. Some people definitely lose the genetic lottery. Did your dad smoke? Did he drink a lot?
Well, he gave up drinking about 20 years ago, but before that, yeah, he was a big drinker. And he smoked cannabis, but not cigarettes his
Yeah,
whole life.
yeah, the good smoking, good times. Ooh, his whole life. Look at that trendsetter. F you to the Hawaii 5-0. Okay. So he didn't, I wouldn't say he lives the healthiest lifestyle, or maybe not. You said he ate whatever he wanted. Maybe he didn't even live a healthy lifestyle, but I wouldn't say he was completely on the other end. I mean, you see people who are like old and obese and smoking and just like, so he wasn't that. But okay, he made it past the average. I forget what the average is for men. It's slightly less than women, but I don't think it's 83. So he definitely made it past then. And then really
I think it's
quickly,
72 and
Shannon, you
75,
you
isn't
you,
it?
you told us, oh, is it 72? I thought it was a little higher than that. That's disappointing. I'll
It
ask
might have been. I
ChatGPT here in
might
a
be.
moment. But give us a quick update. Your dad unfortunately had a health issue as of late, back in 2025, and I think you're still kind of
He's
waiting,
still
right?
in.
He's still kind of in the same situation.
Yeah, he's still in the ICU. As he on the ventilator. Still, they're doing high pressure trials to try and get him off the. He had a tracheotomy put in to breathe, and he's on a feeding tube. He still has an infection in his liver that they've been trying to drain since he went in. An infection in his heart, infection in his lung. He has a lung tube in. Uh, yeah, he has the liver tube in, the lung tube in, and that's they've been trying to deal with the infections. But he's still basically in the same area, same situation he was in before. I still haven't been able to communicate with him. So, well, I mean, I've seen him, but he can't communicate with me because when they untie his hands, he
Yeah,
tries to
that's
pull out anything.
sorry. They tie his hands for what? Oh, so he is
Because
conscious enough. He tries pulling things out, so they have to tie his hands.
yeah, well, they tie your hands anyways when you're on a vent because they don't because your body automatically tries to, even when you're unconscious,
Ah,
tries to like because that's how I woke up on the vent. When you wake up, your hands are tied to the bed because you have the tubes down your throat. I guess even in your sleep, you reflexively try, or even when you're unconscious, you reflexively try to pull something out if you can move your arms.
that's got to be a trip waking up if the first thing you notice is that your arms are tied. You're like, who did I piss off? Did I pay back that loan shark? Oh, wait, no, there's a bunch of tubes in my throat. So, Shannon, pleasantly, you were wrong. Life expectancy at birth, according to the latest CDC figures, which are from 2023 data, overall 78.4 years. Men almost 76 years. It's
Oh,
75.8. Women, I had no idea it was this high. They're really pulling away from us guys. 81.1 years.
yep. So he's beat the average.
Yeah, beating the average. That's all you got to do in life.
Sorry to hear about your father, what everything going on with that, Shannon.
Thank you, Long.
I'm
But
trying
I've
to
had a
beat
bunch of.
Oh gosh,
Well,
Long. I recognize that voice. Let's bring you
yeah,
in.
I'm
How you
trying
doing?
to beat the odds now. I've added exercise at least 3 times a week. I don't eat that much red meat as I used to, every once in a while. Trying to quit smoking and pot smoking, but yeah, curbed the alcohol a few years back. It's
Well,
a
why
special.
are you trying to quit the pot? Let's talk about quitting the tobacco, but why the pot? You can't keep the
Well,
pot in your life?
you keep on smoking, it's not that good for your brain, especially when I'm smoking hash. So, I'd rather have more of a brain than anything as I get older.
What about like a
Like,
marijuana vape?
vaping is worse than actual smoking.
No,
Right?
that's not true. No, the data shows vaping is, I mean, you're burning something and breathing it in. As long as you don't have a bad vape, just like if you're drinking a really good health shake, but someone peed in it, like it's not a good health shake, right? So as long as you're getting quality products, the data shows, look it up. Don't take my word for it. The data shows vaping is not good for you. We're not saying it's good for you. But vaping marijuana or vaping nicotine instead of smoking is much less bad for you. Absolutely true. Let's check here with ChatGPT though. So regular long-term marijuana use is linked to worse short-term memory, slower processing speed, and reduced attention. These effects are strongest in heavy daily users. So if you're a light daily user or you don't even use every day, this might not be you. Some recovery happens after quitting, but not always full, especially after years of heavy use. If you're under 25, this is where the science is the clearest and the least controversial. You have a higher risk of lasting cognitive deficits, lower academic and occupational outcomes. So starting young plus frequent use is the worst for long-term outcomes.
I
But
started young.
if you start young
I had
and you don't
frequent
do it
use.
too much, it's better. If you do a little
I
bit, I'm sorry,
started
say that
young. I
again,
had
Long.
frequent use. I'm a heavy user on daily, so that's why I want to quit at some point.
But if you're such a heavy user on a daily basis, how do you expect to quit?
Maybe get with religion. I've been meaning to go to church, and willpower, and maybe quitting for someone if I get a relationship, and myself. There are ways to quit. You just got to be willing to get out there and push and do it. I think I'd be willing to do it one day.
Well, more
Edibles.
power to you. Yeah, edibles. I was going to say, let's talk about ways to not quit. So if it's smoked, you can have a chronic cough, bronchitis like symptoms, wheezing. You have an inflammation of airways. Marijuana smoke contains many of the same toxins as tobacco smoke, and there's a clear link to lung irritation. So lung cancer risk is still unclear, but it's not true to say that marijuana smoking is safe for the lungs. Vaping and edibles avoid smoke, but introduce other risks. But if you look at the research, vaping and edibles, that's the way to go. Really
I know
quickly,
at my
Long, you
dispensary,
mentioned,
Long.
I'm sorry,
Oop,
Shannon.
I'm sorry. No, I'm sorry, Lee. I know at my dispensary, Long, they make hash edibles. So, because that's what I buy. So I don't know where you live, but that might be a route for you to take.
New York, all we got is like hash. I haven't seen any hash edibles yet.
Yeah, they're called hashables. Is the one that I use, but they also make a dispensary brand. But hashables is a bigger one that's at all the dispensaries up here in New England. But
You see, you're in a different region. You got first. New England got first in the north, East Coast.
yeah,
Third
Well,
in
yeah, of
what?
course, it
In Maine.
depends, where you live. But if you're able to source enough marijuana to be a heavy daily user, something tells me you'll be able to find some edibles or vape. Um, Really quickly, Long, you mentioned maybe religion could help you quit. Apostate Nate, you're with us. Do you want to jump in on that?
I've been thinking about taking judo. That might be another way out. I gotta find a
I,
gym
I
with
like
it.
that idea more than religion. Yeah, I think
Or something
Apostate
else.
Nate is tweeting at some people right now, fighting about religion. Oh, there
Haley,
he is. Hey,
I listen. I can't religion to anybody, but if you're not hurting anybody else and it helps you get rid of a behavior you don't like very much about yourself, I guess I can't really complain. I will say that highly religious esque groups, and I would consider AA to have a strong component like that to it. No one's ever really demonstrated a recovery method that is consistently in the double digits. So, for example, you look up the success rates of Alcoholics Anonymous, they're always struggling, and that's very much a program that centers around the idea of there being a god or higher power of some kind, and yet it still routinely boasts a 91 to 92% failure rate. And this isn't me telling anyone not to go. By any means. But if we're going to look at, okay, is something religious going to make us better here? I don't know. I think it depends on the individual. I'd really like to see the data on that, but I think that there are better, safer ways to get off of substances than to grovel before the throne of Sky Daddy like a worthless sinner. That to me is a big no.
I know people that quit harder stuff that went into NA and all that, and they're still off it. Those programs don't really care about weed for the most part. One of them does as an alternate. The other one never got into weed, so they just stay straight. They're more.
Well, Narcotics Anonymous would be weed, but
yeah. But I'm saying that they're more into stuff like crack. Yeah.
Yeah, the problem with going to Narcotics Anonymous as a marijuana user is like the movie Half Baked, where you show up and you say you're addicted to marijuana, and then Bob Saget yells at you and says, "You ever sucked a dick for marijuana?" It's a great moment, and especially since Bob Saget died, unfortunately,
Like,
so recently in that weird circumstance. As someone who likes marijuana, even if you're trying to quit it, you got to watch Half Baked and pay attention to the scene when Dave Chappelle goes to, I think it's Narcotics Anonymous. It was some sort of help group for people with drug problems, and they got really upset with him that he came for marijuana. So I don't know if that's going to happen in real life. But to your point, Long, about, hey, I know people who went to Alcoholics Anonymous, Narcotics Anonymous, and it worked for them. I know people, or at least I know of people, luckily don't know them, but I've read about people who were religious and then abused young children over and over again. So I don't know, just talking about what you know or people you know or what you've heard. If you look at the numbers, my guess is what Apostate Nate said earlier is true. They can help some people, but usually, eventually, their rates are really low. This is the problem with alcohol. This is the problem with drugs, is that it's very hard for people to quit. So find whatever works for you. I love how Nate put it. He's not going to recommend religion, but if it helps you quit and it helps you find meaning in your life, more power to you. Just hopefully don't be a dick about it.
I just got to get up.
If you're really interested, I'm sorry, say that again, Long.
I just got to get up before 10:30 in the morning on Sunday. I haven't been able to do it so far. I have to set an alarm. That's one thing. And get up when the alarm sounds off. And take a shower and put on nice clothing and find church.
Well, I mean, there's a church for everybody. So I don't know if you necessarily have to go on Sunday morning. I don't know if you necessarily have to look a certain way. There's going to be a church for everybody. But just like I was saying earlier about if you want to go with a vape or an edible, if you decide not to quit, but if you want to quit, more power to you. There's probably going to be something for everybody. So you just got to find what it is, and you got to make sure you find what works for you. And maybe it won't work, but just like with quitting smoking, I think most people I've spoken with who talked about quitting smoking, they tried many times, and eventually one of those times worked. So if you try to stop using marijuana, especially as a heavy daily user, maybe it's not going to stick, but you're going to learn about yourself and you're going to learn about the process, and hopefully maybe that could help you a little bit later on. Apostate Nate, really quickly, about Alcoholics Anonymous, could I not do that as an atheist? Like, doesn't that have a baked in God component? Like that somehow involves
my guess is it
religion,
depends
right?
on which chapter you're in, like who they are. My late uncle, who was in AA for, oh my gosh, probably, he was 82 when he died. He was probably in AA for close to 40 years. Okay. And one time he tried to talk me out of my agnostic atheism. And he was telling me about like what guys do at his program. He wasn't suggesting I go. But he said that he knows guys in the program that their higher power at the meeting is Darth Vader, literally. He says they don't believe in God, so they just come up with something. With that being said, the structure, the overall like umbrella of AA, really like AA is such a big tent, Lee. So you're going to be in. My guess is some chapters are probably going to be a little bit more pushier about the religiosity than others, just because there really is no control.
Right.
It's like the big book in church basements, and that's it.
You can believe in Darth Vader. For all they care, you could believe in a flying spaghetti monster. It doesn't have to be Jesus. It has to be something bigger, higher than you in the world. That's all they
Yeah,
care
but
about.
if it's something bigger or higher than you, then and they accept Darth Vader, clearly that's actually not a rule because Darth Vader is not real and they're not pretending that Darth Vader is an acceptable religion. So let's hear from ChatGPT. AA is not affiliated with any church, but it does use spiritual language, especially God, higher power, or prayer. That religious tone comes from the 1930s when AA was founded. It does not require belief in a traditional God. The higher power can be the group itself. Wow. See, that's the way they get out, just believing in the group. Science or reason can be a higher power. Nature, the idea of cause and effect, or literally anything outside your own ego.
So
Many
you can be
atheists jokingly
atheist.
say their higher power is group of drunks, God. G.O.D, and that works in practice.
Well, Lee, you could be an atheist,
So,
and if you quit alcohol and whatever, you could do that too.
yeah. But I just from what little I've known about AA, I knew there was somehow a religious connection, and the way they do it is definitely there is a religious connection. But if you don't want to 100% adhere to that point, they don't care. But AA is not designed as a non-religious organization. It is not designed as, our religion also is anything that's Abrahamic. So Muslims come on in. I mean, everybody is welcome, but clearly because it was formed in the 1930s and the way that they formed that still is part of the organization today, it was formed with a Christian God ideal, and I guess it was probably watered down enough that you don't have to believe in that. But if you go to AA, my guess is the majority of people there are Christians because of that connection. So I think it's fair to say that this is just my interpretation. It's fair to say that everyone's welcome, but welcome as in we're going to talk about God and this is a religious-ish sort of organization, but we're more interested in trying to help you be sober. So I think that's a fair reading of this.
Yes,
There's prayer at meetings. They have God-heavy language. There are many members personally interpret sobriety through religion. So
yeah, but you could be like, "Hi, I'm Lee. I'm an alcoholic," and you don't have to get into the God thing. You can get into I'm quitting.
But everyone else will.
Oh,
so just like you can go to church and not say anything about God, but people around you are going to be talking about God. So I don't think it's particularly non-religious, but I guess technically because it doesn't connect itself to the Catholic Church or the Methodist Church or something like that, it says it's non-religious. But that's like saying we're a sugar-free cola, but just because we don't have sugar, we have aspartame or whatever the hell it is. Like you have a sugar substitute, it's just not technically sugar. That's how I read this. But whatever the case, I'm not trying to poo-poo this. I hope that you can find help.
Well, do you have issues with drugs and alcohol you need to get through yourself?
Absolutely not. No.
Okay, I'm just asking. I don't know you well. I just know that you have a great show. I've called in before.
Yeah, no, I recognize your voice. It's nice to hear from you again. I don't smoke tobacco. I don't drink really that much. I'm much more into THC products. And I think if you vape or eat THC versus smoking a joint, which is the worst in my opinion, or smoking out of a bong, which is much better, if you're not actually burning something, the negative health effects are going to be very nil. There are behavior effects we talked about, like memory and laziness and sleep and all that stuff. But um, if you smoke marijuana your entire life as a regular user, I think you could still easily go past the 75, 76 years that are the average lifespan for a US male right now. If you smoke cigarettes your entire adult life, I really think that's not likely. So that's the difference. Maybe it's not fair to compare them, because I don't think one chooses tobacco or THC. I think they're different. The only similarity is that you're burning something and smoking it in some of the cases. You can also
Well,
vape
I noticed as
tobacco.
time goes on, my tolerance is going to get higher. It already has. That's the other thing. It's going to take more and more to get high each time. That's another reason to
But
quit.
that's the same thing with anything. I mean, you eat a lot of food and you're heavy and you're overweight, you're going to need more food to be satisfied. You smoke a lot of cigarettes, well, you're going to have to smoke a lot to be satisfied. You drink a lot of alcohol. I mean, that's the same with anything. So,
I've added exercise. I might find a place where they teach judo. Getting that discipline might lead to quitting overall. Might.
I think that's much less likely. I don't think any time someone wants to do a physical exercise like that, discipline, it's a bad idea, but I think that's grasping at straws. If you really want to quit, you're going to need to find a support group. If you were going to quit, you would have quit by now. So I'm not saying to join AA. I'm not telling you to go to a religious organization, not necessarily AA, but just go to church. You mentioned that. But I think you need a support group. If you're actually going to quit, you're going to need a support group, because if you would have been able to quit beforehand, you would have done it by now. So that's my last piece of advice.
Okay.
Best of luck to you.
I'm looking forward over the next year to 2 years, year and a half to 2 years to quit. I'll probably find a support group by the end of it. And quit then.
Yeah, but you gotta be on top of this. I mean, if you wanted to find a support group in your area in the next 5 days, you could find one. So if you're going to be serious about quitting, you have to act serious. So if you're like, oh, within the next 2 years, maybe I'll quit. Truthfully, my guess is you're not even going to try. So if it's important to you to quit because of the mental effects or the physical effects or whatever it is, you need to do that. So that would be my final piece of advice. Best of luck to you. But just the way that you've been talking about it, I am no addiction specialist, right? So take this advice for whatever you want it for. But just like with, I'm going to go to college, or I'm going to get a new job, or I'm going to lose some weight, I'm going to quit smoking, I'm going to quit using marijuana. Uh, Most people who say these things, they don't do it. So you have to be really serious. And if you're not going to be serious, that's fine. I mean, like, a lot of people do a lot of things. But if you really want to have change in your life, most changes, I think, absolutely possible. You just have to really want it. No, I've never been addicted to heroin, so I can't talk about that. But I think most change, even like smoking cigarettes and drinking alcohol, unless you're literally an alcoholic and, what is it? Some guy from Glee and Amy Winehouse, they actually died because of their alcohol dependency. Aside from people who like just can't shake it, if you just someone who doesn't want to drink alcohol anymore because you don't like the way it makes you feel, you don't like the way it makes you act, you don't like what it does to your body. It's really unhealthy for you. It makes a lot of people fat. You have the power to not do that. I mean, look at Donald Trump. Donald Trump can't help himself in almost any way you could imagine, but he mostly has not drank alcohol throughout his life. Like, it's possible. It's possible. All right, let's jump over here to stereo and do some more messages. Let's hear from Augustine. I think this is a real message. I may regret this.
Yo, guys, I just came. Can you catch me up on what's going on?
Hey, Augustine. So it's news debate. We can talk about anything we want. We haven't done a show in a while because I took a big break for the holidays. And mostly today we've been catching up on Trump-related updates because there's so many. Oddly enough, we've talked a lot about the new food guide pyramid that's actually an upside down pyramid, but holy crap, there's a lot more stuff that we can talk about. Apostate Nate, if you want to join us as a speaker again, or Shannon, if you want to raise your hand and let me know if there's something else you want to talk about. In the meantime, I'm going to catch up on some of these Chris messages on stereo.
I'm not all anti-Trump. There's been some good things. I'll jump in there. I'll banter. I'll be like a ping pong board that you fold it in half, you put it up against the wall, and you bat something at it, and just hit it right back almost automatically. I'm cool like that. The AI version sounds like he's just jerking off, and he's gonna have a big, beautiful release. Now that concerns me even more. That sounds more like he's more prone to have been on the island than not. Just pun wise, just phonetics and punnery, or you get what I'm putting down.
Speaking of vices, yeah, Chris is going hard here. Some of his messages are getting a little more difficult to understand. Let's check in with fake AI President Donald Trump. Mr. President, did you ever visit Jeffrey Epstein's private island?
I've known Jeffrey for years. He threw great parties, really great parties. But did I visit his island? No comment. Let's just say, if I did, it would have been for very important meetings, the best meetings. Believe me.
Wow, that's an amazing answer. That's probably the actual answer. Amazing parties, believe me. Amazing parties. Wowzers.
Well, here's the thing. They're all in quasi bed together because they're all fucking crooked as fuck. And once the one snake gets hung, and even if they had nothing to do with Epstein shit, once the one snake gets hung, that snake is gonna sing, and that snake's gonna sing about the other shit the other motherfucker did, and that motherfucker's gonna start singing about the other shit the other motherfucker did. I say you shit can them all. Release it or shit can them all. It's either like 75% or 100% shit can. I knew this was coming. I knew it. Eat more vagina. I knew it. I fucking knew it. It's it. And if we don't eat more vagina, the women are gonna get more and more and more pissed off. And before you know it, this whole triangle thing is gonna come crashing down. And then we're gonna go, and then the thing was Egypt. The whole energy and the time paradox and the see if we all just ate more pussy, we'd all be better off.
That's interesting. I'm going to take one of
The way
his
he's
weird
recommending that
remarks
for
and roll
women
with it.
too, they might not go back to men.
Oh, that's right. Yeah. This is, by the way, I just noticed this. So this food guide pyramid thing that you tweeted me, it says it's from PBS. Is that where you got it from?
Actually, I don't know where I got it from. I just pulled images and did a screenshot. It could be from PBS. Because I just was
Because
trying to find a comparison between the old and the new.
it clearly was made using AI. It says vegetable group 3 to 5 servings, and then fruits FRUUH 2 to 1 servings. It's clearly like one of those AI mistakes.
I didn't even notice that. Yeah. Fruit froth. Is that
Yeah, and then it says heen, goimp, murray, beans, dry bands, eggs, and nuts. Yeah, this is AI generated. Now
he
I
didn't
now
say
I
that you
wonder
need
if
to
this is
spell.
really what it is. I need to find an actual news article. I need to perhaps take back all the things that I said about this. Okay, no, it looks like an upside down. No, yeah, it definitely is an upside down triangle. Okay, I think they
Oh, the
just
new
used
one is
AI to
definitely correct.
compare them, but it actually is. Yeah. Okay, yeah, no, it definitely looks like that. I think they just tried to compare them using AI, and that's where they got screwed over. Okay, so the AI image we have, the Trump pyramid is correct. I think it just tried to combine them and it screwed them up. So generally, that's what it is. That's fine. Okay. But yeah, what a bold move. Could you imagine if RFK Jr., like, I don't know, vaped a little too much THC or drank all the alcohol that Trump is not drinking, and he released a food guide pyramid that had oral on women? Wow. Now it wouldn't be a main food group. It'd probably be around the whole grains area. It's not something you have to eat every day or like 5 times a day, but like, wow, what a bold move that would be.
Conservative men are too caught up in themselves to ever put that on there.
Oh, you're right. That's a good point. It wouldn't come out of the GOP. That's a good point. Yeah. It'd have to be a liberal. And it would be really funny if you didn't actually like put it in there, but you just put in a small visual and hoped people wouldn't notice. So it's like, oh look, here's a pear. This is an avocado. These are some green beans. Is that a wait? That looks like a just hide it in there like a Where's Waldo, but it's a sexual reference. Oh, that would be brilliant.
Little rose or something. Just sneak a little rose or something in there.
Well, hey, everybody. It is a happy 2026. We now have Bjorn joining us over on Stereo. Happy New Year to you, Bjorn. We were actually talking about the new 2025 to 2030 food guide inverted upside down food guide pyramid that has been released by the Trump administration. You're someone who works in the medical field in Pacific Northwest. Maybe you can comment on that. But Happy New Year to you. How you doing?
Happy New Year. Oh, good. It's good. I've been made a yet another cake today. So it's cake day, birthday day. We're doing a birthday party later today, so I can't stay on for very long. I'm just taking a break after making a cake.
So it's interesting. The new food pyramid that's upside down, it looks like a spear. It doesn't have sweets. Previously, they had sweets at the very top, and it was like, avoid these. It doesn't even list sweets in the new upside down food guide pyramid. So I think that's an attack on the Bjorn household specifically. But have you been able to look at this? It's much more protein heavy. They're saying go whole fat dairy. Does any of this stand out to you? It doesn't sound like the worst thing that's come from RFK Jr., to be honest, to me.
Yeah, I can't say like I'm really like mad at it, but it definitely re-emphasizes dairy and meat more, and then, like you said, ignores fats and sugars. I mean, fats is kind of like thrown in back in. Sugars is not mentioned in the at least in the visual thing. So I mean, it's kind of plus or minus. We know that. Uh, I think the other thing that it de-emphasizes is grains, um, and because I think that from RFK's memes or what it's always also kind of weird that we care what a lawyer thinks about health and nutrition, but he's really against like seed oils and he's pro like animal fats. Um, and that's why he went to Steak and Shake or whatever and was just like, these fries are cooked in beef tallow. So this is amazing. Um, so like, when they're like someone's eating burgers and fries and saying this is like amazing health, it's always a little bit weird and questionable. So I think like, it's weird that our nutrition policy is now really less based on what like dietitians and other folks say. It's more based on the opinions of a singular HHS secretary.
So that being said, does this have a negative effect, like the way that when they change childhood vaccine recommendations, or when they change recommendations for COVID vaccinations and boosters on their website and in their other documentation? I see a real effect. But to be honest, I forgot that we had moved away from the food guide pyramid and we're on a plate. I completely forgot about that. And now we're back to a pyramid. So my question is, does anyone really pay attention to this? So even if people think this is a bad idea for the reasons you just pointed out, but it's not the worst thing to come out of RFK Jr.'s mouth, is it really that effective anyway? Like, if they had made the food guide pyramid even better in ways that dietitians were like, oh, this is really good, would that have even had a positive effect? Who pays attention to this?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's just like the public general is probably who pays attention to this. It's not going to really affect probably like what dietitians say or what your health provider says. I guess, and I don't know this. I don't know what exact direct policies that has effect on like public school meals. I know that Michelle Obama was much decried for like trying to make the food healthier. When she was first lady, that was one of her like big things, and she was panned by the Republicans as you know whatever. And I think RFK is actually doing some of the similar things that she was, but in a little bit different manner. But of course, he's beloved, and so same old party politics kind of stuff. But so I don't think that much policy stuff really depends on that image. I mean, obviously, it's just an image. Like, what does it even mean? But I guess the question is, what do they do in terms of like banning different sort of foods or other things like that? Um, yeah, I'm not really sure with that, but I know that people look at that, then they'll be more vindicated when their doctor says like, hey, you should eat like about a wallet sized amount of like lean meats with meals, 20 to 30 grams of protein. And they'll say, well, I kind of eat more meat and cheese because that's what the food pyramid says is good. And it's just like, how do you like, it's like hard to combat that when it sends like mixed messaging on dieting or diet, shall I say.
So yeah, I'm totally on the same page with you. I just asked ChatGPT how this might eventually affect public school food, and I say food because I don't think dinner is really given to kids, but a lot of kids eat breakfast. I learned about that so much during COVID because so many schools were like sending home lunches to kids that were at home because they needed the food. And then people were like, oh, well, the kids also eat breakfast. So I guess maybe 2 meals Monday through Friday is somewhere in the ballpark of what we're thinking. The new pyramid will be the foundation for federal nutrition standards used in the National School Lunch Program, School Breakfast Program, and other federal feeding programs like for military, veterans, etc. So legally, the USDA must develop school meal nutrition standards that reflect the most recent guidelines. Schools will not automatically change menus even though the new pyramid has come out. So the USDA already had a rule based on the 2020-2025 dietary guidelines with implementation from 2025 through 2028. So the new rule rollout, which is 2025 to 2030, will have its own rulemaking and phase-in period, typically in years, not weeks. Congress did pass the Whole Milk for Healthy Kids Act, which has been signed into law. So schools can now serve whole and 2% milk again instead of only skim low fat. The new dietary guidance strongly recommends limiting ultra processed foods and added sugars, and the USDA will likely use that language to tighten school meal standards over time. So maybe that means they can't sell certain types of food either at breakfast or lunchtime or maybe even in vending machines. There is talk about the new guidelines focus on protein and how that might push school menus towards more meats, legumes, and eggs, but that will have to be written into those USDA rules first. That hasn't happened yet, and that probably won't trickle down for the next 1 to 2 years at the earliest. So what doesn't happen immediately? Schools are not going to change their menus at all based on this immediately. This is something that will have to take at least 1 to 2 years.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's good background, and hopefully, beyond like the general feel that is being pushed, hopefully there'll be some folks, dietitians, and other folks who understand nutrition will be involved in that, and it will hopefully be a little smoothed out by the time it actually rolls out to kids in public schools. But I guess we'll have to see what that looks like. I mean, I think the other thing that that we kind of forget in this country is most places in the world don't eat anywhere near the amount of meat that we do, just because it is so kind of expensive. And part of the reason it's expensive is because it takes a lot of fuel and food and other things to produce meat. And so meat is a little bit more limited in lots of other locations. So, there's an argument that, the environmental impact of like more of meats and cheeses is probably not amazing, but I mean, I think that's more of a side issue. At the same time, it's something to, consider whenever we're kind of deciding. And I think, in general, I think, most people know that like higher protein diets are probably better than high carbohydrate diets or low fat diets. And I think that's something that is kind of more, been the trend. I think probably one of the best diets out there is like the Mediterranean diet. And so like what do people in the Mediterranean eat? And I think that's, probably one of the best overall diets out there. But, if we're talking a little bit of higher protein, if we do higher protein, lower fat, then I think it's good. I think what is potentially bad about this is if people see this and realize and say, oh, well, that means I can eat all the bacon I want. And they go, we just like, bacon and cheese for every meal because that's what they are looking at. And I think that's going to result in some real health problems for people down the road.
So you've shared, Bjorn, on the show that you and your wife recently-ish, I forget the exact timeline, moved your kids to a private school. We went into all the reasons why and how you're going to make sure you're going to pay for this because you want to invest in your kids at a young age. All solid choices. Do you know how food at a private school works? Since, when your kids graduate from a private school at whatever age, it's recognized when they go, if they were to go to a public school or when they go to university. So there obviously is some educational commonality there. But like, does a private school have to use federal standards for school lunches the way that we just described will now be kicking in the next year or two for public schools? Do you know how that works?
I don't think they would have to comply because they're kind of. I think that most of the way that Washington controls things is through the purse strings, and so if you're not getting funding, then they don't really have a mechanism to control you because #America. So I think that there shouldn't be any regulations on private schools for this. But for our school specifically, we make lunches, so the school doesn't actually create any food for our kids. So that's a side downer for us because we have to make lunches. Womp womp.
Really, the entirety of this private school, they just don't do food. You just have to send food with your kids.
Yeah, we send food and snacks. So
food and snacks. So like, there's no like, even if it's like healthy apple juice, there's like no vending machine or something.
I think if there's a vending machine, remember seeing a vending machine. I mean, it is attached to like a health center, so there is food over there. There's like a lunch and things, and so there's a way that like I could like pay the health center and their little thing to like bring food over for a lunch if I wanted to do that. So there's an option there, and there's plenty of snacks over there. But generally, the kids aren't like going over to the health center side.
Interesting. Some really industrious young lad or lady needs to start bringing soda and like keeping it in their backpack. And I don't know. I feel like young kids now could take credit cards
The
and
black market.
swipe. They wouldn't even have to. Yeah, they wouldn't even have to insert the credit card or just be tap on their phone, and they could make a crap ton of money that way. Wow, that is really different. I'm sure there are a lot of things about this school that are quite different than what I experienced or what the kids are experiencing at the local public school that your kids used to go to. But no lunch.
Yeah.
It is really. Do you know, is that if you were to pick a different school in your area, if you lived just a couple miles down the road, is that something that private schools do in your area? It might just be a regional thing.
I don't know the answer to that question. Yeah, I'm not sure. I can't say that I looked at the lunch policies for the other private schools. Yeah, I'm not sure.
Fair enough. Not high on the totem pole when you were making that decision. All right, so stay with us, Bjorn. I want to hear from you as much as possible. Throw in it with anything you want to over on stereo. Shannon, you've had your hand raised for a while. Do you have something about? I hope it's school lunches. Let's jump on the
It
school lunch
is.
bandwagon.
It is, yes. Private schools must follow the same federal USDA nutrition guidelines if they participate in the federal school meal program. So if they do stuff like the nutritional school lunches or smart snacks, stuff like that, they have to follow the rules. If they don't, like Bjorn School that doesn't serve lunch, they have to send their lunch, then no, they don't have to follow the federal school guidelines.
I want to see some private school go really far out there, because there's all these different learning methods, and you can send your kid to a school where they don't have desks or something like that. I want to see a private school have like game meat lunches. Like your kid will be eating elk or deer or some sort of wild boar. Like man, that really opens up a can of worms. I've always thought of private schools as like, well, is it religious? Are you going to have a uniform? Is it going to be touchy feely? Is it going to be no desks? Are you going to be sitting on the carpet? Or is it going to be like a military school where it's the exact opposite and everything is super, super restricted and you have to do everything they tell you? But I didn't think about school lunches. That really does open up a delicious can of worms. Shannon, I forget. You went to a private school growing up. Didn't you tell me that? You went to a
I
Catholic school?
did. I went to both Catholic, and I was trying to look up the private school that I have in my town. That's $75,000 a year to go to. I'm trying to get their lunch. I'm trying to get their food, their dining hall right now to
This
see
is
what
the
they're.
one that looks like a college, right? They have like a football stadium
Yeah.
and stuff. You were telling me about this?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, here you go. I'll post it down below. But this is their menu for the day because they all live on campus anyways. But starting at some. But that's just the breakfast that I pulled up. But they have the lunch, dinner, snacks, brunch.
Oh, that's right. They have to have all the food because the kids live there on campus. So that's
Most of them
okay.
live on campus. They still allow townies to come in like me that don't live on campus, but we're not seated in the same class as the others.
The Loomis.
When I look at
This is the Loomis Shafi. How do you say this?
Chafee.
Chafee. Oh, I thought Shafi.
Shafi, like French. Probably
Yeah.
is French. We just pronounce it wrong as Americans. You're probably pronouncing it right.
So for breakfast, they have blueberry pancakes, turkey breakfast sausage links. Oh, turkey. Wow, that's healthy. All right. Fried hash brown patty, not the hash we were talking about before. That's definitely potatoes. A Denver scramble. Then not gluten like allergy intolerant. It says gluten aware. Wow, I've never seen that. Gluten aware. Gluten free blueberry muffin. Low fat vanilla yogurt is available at the yogurt bar. House made granola. All right, so that's breakfast for today. Let's look at lunch. Creamy corn chowder, Italian wedding soup. What does that even mean? The Grill Main has beef taco meat, cilantro lime rice, vegan refried beans, Southwest roasted cauliflower. That's really popular now, the cauliflower. House made corn tortilla, gluten aware. Still got that. Oh, everything is still. So they have gluten aware. They have the same menu from the grill. Then they have the impossible chorizo. So it's not really chorizo. Now let's just look here at dinner. This is at the Loomis Shafi Chafee Dining Hall. Kung Pao chicken, ginger garlic green beans, vegetable stir fried rice, egg roll. They have some of those things as gluten aware. Then crispy tofu if you're a vegan or vegetarian. They have pasta of the day and pasta sauce of the day. Wow, that's really pasta of the day is one thing, but the sauce may be something different. Wow. That's quite the meal for this place at the Loomis Shafi.
Chafee. Loomis Chafee.
Shafi. Loomis Shafi.
Probably do have a French chef there, though.
It's powered by NutraSlice, the leading provider of digital menu technology. Wow, this place looks really legit. Man, I kind of want to go back to school here as an adult. Just like roll in with my skateboard and my backwards cap. How are all you people doing today? Wow, that place looks great. Thank you for that, Shannon. Appreciate it.
But when I went to Catholic school, we didn't have a lunch. We only had like tables set up. We didn't have any we had to bring our own food because we didn't have any in there at Catholic school.
Oh, they didn't. That your Catholic school was like Born's kids' school. They don't. They just didn't serve food.
Yeah. My Catholic school. One of my Catholic schools did not, or two of my Catholic schools did not. One of them did. Had a cafeteria. Had an actual cafeteria.
food, Bjorn has posted this on my Discord server, go to bit.ly/NEWZ debate for all my links. Subscribe on Patreon, everywhere else, and join us on Discord. This is a Minecraft cake with the base of looks like Rice Krispies and then maybe brownies with some frosting on top. This looks great, Bjorn. Tell me more about this cake.
Yeah, well, you know, I typically will make the custom cake for my kids' birthdays, and I ask them what theme they want, and try to make a cool cake. I enjoy cake decorating. It's kind of like a fun little thing. I'll make cakes as long as they allow me to. But Minecraft was like kind of a little bit of a challenge. Like, all right, what should we do? I mean, I think the other thought was just like make a face. Minecraft scene. And so if you've seen the world of Minecraft, it's kind of very blocky and pixelated. So grass blocks with some beach sand and then stuff like cake.
Sorry, Bjorn. The internet gods are kicking us in the crotch right now, so we got most of that. But let's go layer to layer. So the bottom layer looks like it's blue. Is that edible, or is that something else? What is that blue
That's
bottom
Jell-O.
layer? Okay, that's Jell-O.
Jell-O.
Okay, then on top of that, you have, it's not completely across the pan because it's Minecraft, so it's cut here, cut there. Then you have a layer of what appear to be just normal Rice Krispie treats, correct?
Yep, I made them.
And then on top of that,
Homemade Rice
is
Krispie
this
treats.
cake? Is this brownie? What is this brown?
It's just a yellow cake with frosting. I used a grass tip on top and then just frosted the sides.
Okay. So then the Jell-O is supposed to be water, right? So that's water, and then the Rice Krispies are just normal Minecraft blocks.
Yep, and then the Rice Krispie is supposed to be like the sand. If you ever played Minecraft,
the
usually around
sand,
water,
yeah.
there's like a sand.
Yeah.
So.
And then you said this is before the Minecraft coppers go on. So do you have like Minecraft people you're going to throw on there?
Yeah, I've got like little creepers and like the little characters, Steve, and all little other things that go on top.
Wow, that's pretty good, man. This is great. So how many kids are you expecting at this party? I mean, sometimes kids' birthday parties can be like 40 kids. Is this just a family get together?
It's like I think there's like 20 kids, which is not bad. Like my son is less expansive with who he wanted to invite. My daughter is like invite every other person I've ever interacted with slightly. So we had probably 40 kids at her birthday. And so that usually requires making a secondary or buying a secondary cake. So I'll decorate one and there's like mass consumption for the other one.
Now, I can't remember who it was, but I think someone called into the show and said that their kid went to a school where you had to invite everyone to the birthday party. Is that the rule for kids' school? Is there a rule like that?
Yeah, I think that if you, that was at the public school, that was the rules. If you gave out invitations at school, you had to give them to everyone. And so I don't know if that's a rule here, but we did that just in case, because I didn't really know what the rule was.
Oh, so you just invited every kid in your kid's class, but then with your daughter, she also wants like other people invited. So that's how you get to the 40, is that it's people on top of her class?
Exactly.
And then do you ask for RSVPs for a kid's birthday party so you know like how many people to expect? How does that work? You invite the entire class, and then what?
Yeah, like I usually, my process usually is go on ChatGPT, make a cool custom invite, print it at Walgreens, and then hand it out, and then also then text the invite to whoever, and then we usually have a phone number in the bottle to RSVP to get a general idea.
And then, so have you gotten RSVPs to this party? What's it look like? Is it above 50%? What's the kind of reception rate on a kid's birthday party these days?
I would say, you know, when you send out things, you probably get about 50 to 60% show up, depending on what time it is, what day it is. Since ours is going to be a little bit late because we're going to have it at like a kid's like little play place. So we've got like a set hour. So we actually had to pick like 5:30 to 7:30 p.m. Is our time. So that's here in like 2 hours for my time. Or 4:30. No, it's an hour. So 2 hours. Yeah. So like 2 hours now. Party starting. I'm on my way to go fill up the balloons with helium. Because the other thing that I usually do is once we know the theme, if you go on Amazon, there's all these like party pack things you can get where like you can just go Minecraft birthday and it gives you Minecraft plates and cups and napkins and a banner. And then there's usually like a couple themed balloons as well. Then you have to figure out how to fill up the balloons with helium. So I usually take them to our local little party shop and fill them up.
Wow, that's intricate, man. Parents of the year here, going in the running. I know they've already given out the Golden Globes and the Nobel Peace Prize, but parent of the year here. Yeah, you got the Minecraft homemade cake. You got the Amazon Minecraft party pack. You got the play place thing that you have reserved. And then you have to go to the local party shop so that the balloons are not just filled with normal oxygen, but actually will bounce and go up into the air. That is upper level stuff, Bjorn. I'm just glad kids don't have more than one birthday a year because that's a lot of work for you and your wife, man.
Yeah, it's a little bit of a stressful day, but you know, the cake is always to me the highlight and the fun part. So I'm glad that's done, and I can figure out the rest. Oh, the other is goodie bags. You forgot about goodie bags. So you get these bags, and you have to like the kids come, and when they leave, they have to take the goodie bags. You have to fill it with toys and pencils or whatever little goodies you're going to give out.
So, I mean, call me old-fashioned, but when I was young, you went to a birthday party and you gave a gift to the birthday boy or girl, but now you leave with gifts.
Yep.
This actually is like the Golden Globes. This is like those swag bags that celebrities get from all the big companies, right?
Yep. It's pretty fun. We've got some Minecraft gummy fruit treats to throw in there, so we got some themed snacks. You know, it's fun.
Now, with all this work, is it like when your kid goes to a birthday party, they just have like Pizza Hut pizza and like a Walmart cake? Like, are you seeing this sort of time and preparation and output from fellow parents that your kids hang out with their kids?
I would say that our parties are pretty on par or maybe a little over other folks. I would say the cake is all, you know, if I want to like toot my own horn, I'd say my cake is always better than other cakes. Most people don't do like a custom cake. Most people just buy the, you know, grocery store cake and write something on it. But beyond the cake, I think everything else is pretty close to the same. Sometimes we'll go to a party and they will, you know, sometimes it'll be like they have these weird like weird places can do birthdays. Like they went to what's the place where they make all the candles and stuff? Or was it Sephora? I don't know. Like people are doing birthdays in weird spots where they'll do like at a makeup place and they make their own scent or they make their own candle. We've been to all sorts of interesting like activity sort of like things, but typically it's like you go there, there's some food, there's some cake, there's some drink, you stay there for a couple hours. There's usually an activity. So like if it's at a house, then usually there's going to be like activities, or you can go to a place where there is activities to do outside of the thing. So there's usually an activity, a food, a cake, a goodie bag from there. So
wow. I am not an old man, but things have definitely changed. So what do adults do? Like, I'm sorry, go on.
I was just saying, last year my boys' team was Ninja Turtles, and so I had it was more of like a metal cake with like ooze out of it, and we went to like this science museum, and this like crazy Portland scientist dude had them like help them make slime. So that was the activity last year. So, but it was like at a science museum place. So.
What do so I guess if you go to this science museum, it's a little different. But if you go to like a kids place sort of a thing, or some sort of restaurant, so it's not a Sephora or something, do the adults drop off their kids and then pick them up? Do they stick around? So like, are adults just like drinking while the kids are doing something? Like, what's the level of adultness going on with these kids' birthday parties?
I think it depends. So like the younger ones, definitely there's a parent there. My older one's like getting to the age where she's like, 8 or 9 area, where now the parents are more like are starting to just drop off and go. I would say we're a little bit more paranoid, and so we typically don't drop our kids off at people's houses that we don't know. So we usually hang around. So I would say it's probably like half the parents drop off at this age and half hang around. So yeah, but for the younger one who's turning 5, probably there'll be a parent for everybody.
And then does it depend on the locale? But then like, what are you doing while the kids are doing the activity? Do you do it with them? Are there just dads in the corner with beers? Like it probably just depends on whatever the activity is, right?
Right. Typically, like, I had alcohol at like the 1-year-old party back when like that was still a thing, but after that I don't think I've had alcohol at the party. There was a party we went to that did have alcohol. The dad was kind of getting a little sloshed, so I was very happy that I was there and not just dropping the kid off. But yeah, I think most of them I would say don't have alcohol, but some of them do. I would say maybe 10% of them do, but most of them do not. Maybe 5% do. So you answer your question. Usually it's just kind of like around talking to people.
Yeah,
if you're hosting, it's kind of like a wedding as well, because you have to like, run around and make sure you say hi to everybody, because usually they bring a gift and you say thanks and remind yourself whose dad are you, because you kind of like lose your identity. Like, oh, you're John's dad. I'm Sally's dad or whatever. So you kind of start to get to like know people. This is also how you friend, because there's this phenomenon where a lot of our single friends that we had before kids have all kind of like faded away, because we kind of like don't do the same social things anymore, and you're starting to like build new friends of the kids who are in your school and are coming to your party, and so it's like the opportunity for like
parents to like make friends and like hang out and stuff. Becomes like the new social circle as well. And so, not that it's a competition, but like I love like to like show off the cake skills and the moms are impressed, etc. They usually don't believe that I made the cake.
Wow. So just like your Minecraft cake that has multiple levels, a kid's birthday party in the Pacific Northwest has the kids hanging out. It has the gifts. It has the whatever activity and location they're at. And then also the parents are actually there perhaps to meet each other because they don't know each other and they're trying to one up each other. And people are like, please, you didn't bake that cake. So my question with this, since you're a pie guy and you're a cake guy and you want to use custom cakes, you also live in like the nut allergy capital of the planet. So like you're home baking these cakes. So like you got to make sure they don't have anything. Do you got to like tell them the menu beforehand so parents can decide if their kids will eat the cake or not? How do you handle that?
You just reminded me I need to pick up. So what I normally do is pick up like I need to have like gluten-free and vegan options usually is what I do. And like, yeah, so that's typically like, because I know that there's a couple of gluten and vegan kids coming to this party. So I usually at least have something else available so those kids don't feel left out. Luckily, this time the Rice Krispie treats are gluten-free. They're not vegan because marshmallows are made with cows, I think. So yeah, this is the gluten-free. I'm checked, but I just need to probably find a vegan something. Also, I put butter in the thing, so it's also not vegan.
Yeah, the butter. I'm thinking the butter. So, and then the Jell-O, I'm guessing, has some sort of animal product in it. But
yeah.
So I was thinking like a nut allergy, but so if a kid is gluten free, I'm guessing that's because they've been identified to have some sort of tolerance issue. But if a kid's vegan, that's just because their parents are forcing that on them at a young age, right?
Not necessarily, actually. Like I have some kid, like one of our parents group in our parent group, their kid is vegetarian because but the parents are not. So I feel like there's a little bit of a thing that happens to kids sometimes where they're like, no, I don't want like to eat any animals because they're cute and I don't want anybody to get harmed. So that happened to like my sister-in-law as well. That's what she went through a phase where she was very vegetarian, but no one else in the family was. So like my kid is slowly starting to be weirded out by some meats. So I think that might be in the water a little bit, but we'll see what happens.
Wow, yeah, double-edged sword progressiveness of the Pacific Northwest, and then those kids are out progressing their own families at a very young age. Holy cow! Well, that is all fascinating, man. This is an onion that continues. Well, I mean, this is a Minecraft cake. You think you're done, and there's like another layer. There's another layer. There's another layer. I'm just surprised this cake that we're still looking at could feed 20 kids. I guess you'd have a few kids that would go for the vegan option, but I feel like
it probably won't. I actually got I've got 24 cupcakes on reserve as well.
Oh, okay. So you're gonna have the cake and it looks great, but maybe if enough kids come, you may have a cupcake instead. Okay, and then for like your other child's 40 kid parties, yeah, you definitely would have to make. I don't think you could make a cake that would be that big, that would be detailed enough. You can make like a giant. Yeah, like a Costco thing.
We do
Yeah.
usually go to Costco cake. They have the huge cake that serves like 60 or something, and it works out. That's what we usually do. If I'm really worried about cake volume, then I get the Costco to do there. We're doing Costco pizza is our food, so which are great.
Oh, at
If
the
you've
at
never had
the
Costco
at the
pizza,
play thing
it's only
tonight.
$10.
At the play place thing that you rented out, you're bringing your own cake and cupcakes, and then your food is Costco pizza.
Yep.
So then this is definitely not like a Chuck E. Cheese. They don't have their own food there, so they allow you to bring in the outside food.
Yeah. Exactly. Yep.
Wow. Yeah, it's just like your kids' elementary school. They just decided to not have food. I can imagine, like, as some sort of like kid activity center, if you had food and you made people buy the food, like you could make a lot of money. But then again, also you'd have to do all that. So if you just push that aside, and then because you have those awkward situations where people would want to bring in their cake that they baked, or the cake that they have for the kid's birthday, so you'd have to let in some outside foods, and then it just kind of slippery slopes into, we just won't have any food and you can just bring in as much as you want. That's a really interesting business proposition, because clearly you are spending $1 or $2 on this. You got the backup cupcakes, you got the Minecraft cake you made, you got the Minecraft party favors and all this other stuff. I mean, clearly it's worth it. You only have one opportunity a year for each kid to have this experience, and do it to the whatever degree you want. But yeah, this is an investment of time and money. Do you keep track of the money just to see just a ballpark of what it costs, or are you just like, whatever we need, we pay for it, we don't keep track of it?
That second one. Yeah, no, I think for me, my wife just kind of rolls her eyes because I typically am the one who goes overboard with these things. So she's just like, whatever you want to do, honey. And I'm like, let's go crazy. So that's kind of typically how I do it.
Is there a lot of range in the gifts that your kids can receive? Because I can imagine someone could give them like a pretty nice electronic item or like clothing item, and then someone else could give them basically like a candy bar. So, like, is there a lot of range? How do you decide the level of gift to give when your kids giving gifts? And what kind of gifts have your kids received?
I'm going to go through a tunnel, so we'll see how this goes. But I would say most people probably spend 25 to 45 bucks on a gift, I'd imagine. And so maybe how close you know them is probably how much you spend. So if these are one of your best, or if you don't know them, it might be a little bit more of a generic gift. It's probably still going to be somewhere between 25 and 30 bucks, I would say, is average.
And then, so whether or not they know your kid well or they don't, what kind of things are you getting? I don't even know what you get a kid for $30 nowadays, because that precludes most electronic devices. I don't even think a kid would want a $30 pair of earbuds. They'd want like at least $100 or $150, $200 earbuds. So what do your kids get? What do your kids give other kids?
I mean, my kids are still pretty young, so they don't have a lot of like technology gifts. We're just starting to get into technology gifts a little bit. Like this year, like we got my girl like a little like cheapy camera for but the camera was only like 35 bucks. It was like some like Amazon thing, but it wasn't that expensive. But it's still like 25, 30 bucks. But most of the time, I don't know, like a little like stuffed animal or a toy or a board game or a slime pack or I like to give science gifts. So I try to find some sort of like science theme or animal thing. Like here's grow a cocoon in a little jar thing, or like I don't know. There's all sorts of fun little gifts you can do that are in that range. We have a toy store near our house, and so typically what we'll do is we'll just leave our house like 10 minutes early, roll over to the toy store, run around crazy, pick out a gift, and then we give it to them, and they wrap it for you, and then you go to the thing with a nicely wrapped gift. But that's how I live my life.
Wow. I'm just surprised you go to a toy store. I thought you'd be like, a couple days before the party, we jump on Amazon.com. But okay, a physical toy store. Wow. 2026.
That's too much planning.
Yeah.
Too much planning.
Is it normal to open all the gifts like while the kids are eating cake at the end of the party? Is that shaming? Like, how does that work?
I think everybody does it differently. We usually just take the gifts home wrapped and don't open them in front of everybody. Sometimes the kid's like, please open my gift. I want you to see what it looks like when you open my gift. So the other kids are excited to see the reaction. I don't know, I guess I feel weird about it, like opening all the gifts in front of everyone. I would say it's probably 50-50. We just take them home and then like try to remember and thank people, whoever bought the cards, but usually like the cards get ripped off or we end up not knowing who gave us what. So it's a little bit weird in that range. So we don't do we're not very good at like thank you cards. We're kind of terrible people in that realm.
Gosh, I can only imagine being 10 if I had to go to a birthday party where I would expect to get a thank you card. And at my birthday party, I would have to, or I guess my parents would have to send out thank you. Gosh, I guess you could do them digitally, so that kind of helps. But oh man, yeah, it's just like your cake. It's just like the Minecraft cake. It's layer on top of layer on top of layer.
Yeah, I mean, probably the most we'll do is like take a picture with the toy and text them and say, "This is awesome, thank you." It's probably what we do most of the time because we're not going to send thank you cards, but.
Oh, okay. So just some sort of digital recognition. But then, like you said, if the cards get ripped off and you're not sure who sent what, then you run the risk of like, I didn't give you that gift. Yeah. Wow.
Right.
That is so on top of. Wow. This is getting really complicated. And it's so interesting that it's a location that has like something to do as opposed to going to like a Pizza Hut or a Chuck E. Cheese or even like going to a movie. Like those are either locations where the activity is eating, or Chuck E. Cheese, I guess, has video games as well. Or you go to a movie, clearly that's what you're doing. But like you go to a place, you do a thing, and it's like weird things you wouldn't even think of. But then on top of that, you still have the food, you still have the cake, you still have the gifts, and the parents may or may not stick around. There may or may not be alcohol. You may or may not be opening the gifts. You may or may not get some sort of digital thanks after the fact. And depending on the school, you may or may not have to invite/be invited to every kid's birthday party. Yeah, this is a lot, man.
Yeah, so I don't know. It's like, yeah, I think, I kind of imagine like just like what a quinceañeras are going to be, or a bat mitzvah. Like it's going to be that. At least we're preparing. Like I'm going to be ready because we know how to throw a party. You get all the things going. So.
Are your okay? Well, so you said you had a boy and a girl, so you're going to have is it a bat mitzvah and a bar mitzvah? Is that the terminology?
Yeah. Yes. I am at the party store, so I'm going to go fill up the balloons.
I can tell. You have a good one, Bjorn. Thanks for all the information.
All right.
It's going to be a great party. I know it will be. Take care.
Take it easy. Bye.
Shannon, you've been waiting patiently. I appreciate that. I decided to get as much information, like a vampire, social audio, talk radio vampire, to get as much information from Bjorn as I could. You've been waiting patiently. I hope that you have some input on kids' birthday parties, either in the past or today as well.
No, I just wanted to know what kind of crappy birthday parties you went to that didn't have swag bags. We always gave them out, even in the 70s, 80s, when I had kids' birthday parties for myself.
Oh man, I grew up in a bad place. Yeah, no,
I
bad
guess.
families all around town. We swag. I mean, I remember getting like a small bag that had maybe like a sucker or two in it, but it sounded like these were a little bit more substantial than that. Did you not get that from Bjorn? That's what I thought it sounded like.
Oh, we always had stuff like, stickers and little toys and usually some sort of theme for the birthday. Something in there with a theme. Chocolates, candy.
I remember some themes. I don't know. Maybe I was overwhelmed. I may have been overwhelmed. But I felt like these grab bags were a little bit more like Golden Globe Oscar grab bags, as I mentioned, where you just get like a bunch of crap. So maybe I overassigned value to them. But you are right. I do remember coming away, when I was really young. I remember coming away from birthday parties, leaving with some like candy. It felt like
Yeah, I'm
this was a
talking like
little
under
bit more
12,
than that.
like, 7, 8, 9, 10, somewhere in
Yeah.
there. But mine were always at like McDonald's or Papa Gino's, or because Chuck E. Cheese wasn't around.
Oh, predates Chuck
Bowling
E. Cheese.
alley.
Okay. I went to a lot of birthday parties at people's houses.
I didn't have my birthday parties at my house because my birthday's in December.
Ah, fair.
So my parents would, because they didn't want it. They wanted my birthday to be special, so they didn't have it with the Christmas decorations.
Kids
I think that's
definitely
because
were
my
dropped
dad's
off though, right? Do you remember that when you were young? Like I never remember other adults being there. We always
Oh
were
God, no.
just
There
like
were no other adults there. They just dropped us
parentless.
off, and then
Yeah, he just dropped you off. Yeah.
yeah, there's no other parents there. Even my parents, I don't even really remember them there. They were probably there somewhere, but not
Oh, at your
with
birthday
us.
party, it was just kids. Yeah. Lord of the Flies. That's great. Yeah. Okay, so the parental involvement, I think, is definitely something that has increased, but also like the like, oh, are you Bill's dad? That like that sort of a thing. I liked how Bjorn explained that. I think that is another level from what I remember and from what you remember. I would argue the swag bags have increased, but maybe I just grew up in a swag bagless area. I'm
Yeah,
willing to
there
own
was no
that.
buying 3 cakes and everything else either.
Oh yeah, the intricate cakes. We just had a cake. Now there was a
Yeah, that was it.
mixture of store bought versus homemade. I remember distinctly some homemade, some store bought, and sometimes it wasn't always this one was better. It just depend on who baked it and where you bought it from. And then I think at a certain point we didn't really even have. I remember just going over to people's houses for their birthday party, and it was just kind of informal, and we just hung out. And I don't even. I think when I was like in high school, we didn't even get each other gifts. Like after maybe early middle school, you just went over to someone's house. We'd have like sleepovers, like at my
Yeah, that
house
would
or
be
their
it.
house.
Yeah,
We
maybe get them a present.
yeah
Maybe get them something small, but it was never. Yeah,
yeah.
I don't
I think
remember
the
big
gifts
birthday parties
went
after
away.
elementary. I don't remember.
Yeah. So it'll be interesting with Bjorn as his kids get older if they age out, and he'll be so sad. He'll be crying and tearing up. Oh, I can't make these wonderful cakes and swag bags anymore. I feel like even with the sleepovers that these birthday parties will probably turn into, uh,
Well,
there'll
they
still
can't
be
even
enough
bring
room
like
for a Bjorn
cupcakes to
cake.
school anymore, right?
Yeah, that was my question. Was that yeah? How do you do all this homemade stuff? And so you heard right. He just has like a
Yeah, yeah.
secondary cake or cupcakes for the kids that need them. Also, just because of the amount, he might run out because so many kids come. But then, he wasn't quite sure about kids school. But let's say you go to a school where if you invite people to a birthday party, you have to invite the entire class. If you have a sleepover, clearly you can't have the entire class sleep over. So I guess it must be a party, um, as
I
opposed
suppose
to
that's
like
how big your
a
house is.
Yeah, but you couldn't possibly, right? I mean, like, no one could be expected to do that. You couldn't have
Well, I mean,
20 kids
my
sleep over.
graduating class of my 8th grade graduating class of at my Catholic school, there was only 12 of us. So I suppose I could have fit 12 in my house if I
But
wanted.
even 12 person sleepover, like, unless you just have like a giant furnished basement downstairs that's just like one
Right.
giant room, like, that's the only way that would work. You couldn't do that.
Yeah, you couldn't stay in one room too. Well, the normal size room, you couldn't do a full sleepover.
Yeah, so you would, so there must be, it must fade out after a certain age when they have those rules, or it
See,
must be
it
only
was never that you had
parties.
to invite everyone for the birthday party, but for like Valentine's and stuff like that, you had to give everyone one.
I remember that you had to give everybody a Valentine. Yeah, yeah.
But it wasn't you had to invite them to your birthday. You didn't have to invite everyone to your birthday party.
Well, let me think here. I'm intrigued by this. I think I'm running out of time, so we might have to wrap things up. And I hope we can do more shows.
Yeah, your
in the
voice
coming
is
days.
going on us.
My voice is going out. You've noticed. See, that's it's like, you know, if you run every day or every other day, or you work out and then you skip a couple weeks, like, you know, your body is like falling apart. My voice, I haven't done a show in like a month. But let's ask ChatGPT this. So get this going. For schools where you have to invite the entire class to your kid's birthday party, how does that work if you have a sleepover? I understand if you have a party, maybe the rule might be that you need to have an invite for everybody. But if you're having kids stay over at your house or doing some sort of activity that involves travel or something like that, are there usually exceptions? Do these rules go away at a certain age? How does this work?
That's a great point. Usually those invite the whole class rules are more about inclusivity for daytime parties where kids are young. Schools and parents often just want to avoid anyone feeling left out. But when it comes to something like a sleepover, it's typically considered a more personal and smaller gathering. So those big inclusion rules generally don't apply in the same way, especially as kids get older. By the time they're in middle school or a bit older, it's usually understood that sleepovers or special outings are for smaller friend groups. So yeah, there's definitely more flexibility for those kinds of events.
I know it's weird that I had to check with this, but I just wanted to make sure I wasn't crazy because I don't have kids, but just all my friends that have kids, family, lifelong friends, whatever it is, everyone I'm talking to has these rules where they have to invite everybody. And I guess I'm young enough that the kids haven't gotten too old. But, you know, 10, 15, 20 years from now, when people I know have kids that are in high school or whatever, I guess that's when I'll get the details, because right now, like, Bjorn didn't even know what the rules were at his kid's private school. So they just invited everybody in class because they assumed that's what they had to do. So 10 years from now, when these kids are in high school, there's got to be a different rule, unless things have gotten so bad on the progressive left that you still have to invite everybody, in which case you just have to lie about it. Because once again, even rich people couldn't have 40 people over at their house overnight. Like, you can't, it's just not possible, right? They're just people's homes aren't built that way. If you're rich, you don't have like a hotel, you just have a nice house in a nice area, right? So it just, there has to be a stop at some point. So it's why I wanted to check with ChatGPT. But Shannon, really appreciate you. Really appreciate Apostate Nate and Bjorn and everybody else who's been a part of today's show. We will play a bunch of messages on stereo before the show ends. But Shannon and Apostate Nate, if you want to join us again for a moment to say goodbye, you want to give me a final thought, and I promise we will do a show again sometime in the next week, probably next weekend, hopefully 2 shows next weekend, because there's so many things we didn't cover. We didn't talk about ICE, we didn't talk about Greenland, we didn't talk about Maduro. I mean, there's just Iran, like, there's just so much stuff going on right now. The Nobel Peace Prize, Trump has a Nobel Peace Prize. He wasn't given one by the Nobel Committee, but he has one.
I thought he was against DEI. He took it from a woman that Latin woman.
Well, I mean, he's against DEI because Barack Obama got one before he was even elected president.
Well, yeah, and did you see what the Nobel came out with? That's saying he might have been gifted it, but he wasn't given it.
Yeah, and it was really funny. CNN in particular, but also a few other news outlets, they went really above and beyond poo-pooing this. Like, some news outlets were just like, Trump has been given the Nobel Peace Prize by that Venezuelan lady. But like CNN's headline was like, such and such woman only receives a gift bag after giving away her Nobel Peace Prize. Like, they really had to poo-poo the fact that this woman, who by all rights was given the Nobel Peace Prize in a like upfront and she deserved it fashion, she decided that Trump had done so much for peace that she gave her prize away. And just like CNN just tore it apart. And it's like, what's he supposed to do? Like, give her a medal? Like, I mean, like, she gives him a medal, so he gives her a medal. Like I wouldn't expect that she would get anything. Like, it was just really petty. Especially when Barack Obama got one
that
before
goes
he
with the
even
prize?
did anything. Oh, you
Did she
get $1
give him
million?
$1
I didn't
million
know
that goes
that.
with the prize?
My guess is no. Yeah.
Just
Trump doesn't need
just
$1
the
million.
medal.
Yeah, just the medal. That's what's important. So Trump has a Nobel Peace Prize and he has $1 million. So I mean, there it is. He's a Nobel winner.
True, or the selling of the offshore oil that's in a bank in Qatar. The money's in a bank in Qatar instead of ours, even though we sold the oil. That's kind of weird.
I don't know about that. That'll be our topic for next time, Shannon. Really appreciate it. Appreciate Apostate Nate. Appreciate Bjorn, who's joined us back over on stereo. We're going to wrap up. But before we do, I'm going to play all these messages over on stereo. Most of them are from Chris, and they're going to be drunken. But it's News Debate. I'm Lee. Great to have you. Please join me for the next show. I'll post about that on Twitter and my Discord. And support the show if you really enjoy it over on Patreon. All those links at bit.ly/NEWZ debate. Here is the final round of stereo messages.
I was addicted to big red feet when I was a child. I love them. I still like them. If someone shows me one, I'll probably be able to be like, yeah, give me one of those. Give me one of those. I don't. Trump doesn't strike me as a child molester in the mildest, in the slightest. But Epstein was also a money launderer, a blackmailer. He would have guaranteed money. Oh, they're probably trying to listen to my shit. Me and my buddy were talking about chocolate and refried beans. And chocolate is like a giant bean, right? Like the original nut that it comes in, or nut or a bean or what have you. So that was all 10 to 1. You're trying to listen in, or AI was trying to listen in, and it's trying to give you a heads up on my previous conversation about chocolate. But, what have you. No, that's stranger than fiction, dude. Stranger than fiction. I don't mind it. I don't care. Whatever. I know they're always listening. I've known they were listening since I was about 18. And that's going way the fuck back. It's either I prepared myself when I was 18, or I knew they were going to listen one day. Whatever. Who gives a shit? Wait, Lee. I have a beautiful small visual for everybody out there in the internet land. My penis. Very small visual. Hopefully they're prepared. Just get them in the comfort zone. The fact that there are small penises, and then it's normal, and then we can all, like, it's like I don't know if it's a blue pill or a red pill, but it'll be far more palpable. Lee, I'll be your wingman, dude. I'll be your maverick. I will not cock this up. I will co-pilot this shit. I'll co-pilot the shit out of this shit. Just have to put a little bit of trust in me. I'll make you famous, motherfucker. I'll make you famous. You hold on to your hat. Unless you don't want to be famous. If you don't want to be famous, don't bring me up in this shit, because I'll end up making you famous. This is going to happen. No, all health criticism is a giant crock of shit. We're all different. We all have different metabolisms. We all have different makeups. We're all fucking different. All the entire, like, we're all going to fit into a certain category: height, bone density, or bone mass, muscular density, general muscular density, genetics, etc. We're all going to fit into different categories. There's no effing fucking Hemingway. We all fit into the, well, you better eat fucking grapes or you're gonna die. Like, eat a bag of dicks. That's not how it fucking goes. Everyone's different. Does it make it easier to say America when you say hashtag America? Like, can I say hashtag Canada, and then all of a sudden I feel prouder about my country? No, my countrymen is one thing. I understand you may or may not have a reason to be proud or not proud of your governing. I think that's world renowned. World renowned. I think governing is complete shit. I think it's horrible shit. I think they are doing the whole GWMORT BBC LMGPQ.
Fuck Donald Trump. That he's a rapist.
All right, then let's talk about Trump. First of all, I'm not an American. I'm African. I'm from Ghana. But I think I have an idea on what's going on, so I'm ready to talk.